Tubers, tubettes, and of course my ever-widening circle of crazy people. This is a complicated video for me to try to do. Now, there's so many components to this. I could go on for 2 hours, but I won't. I'm going to try to wrap this up in 30 minutes or so. And there's a ton to cover. But I'm going to do my best just to make it as concise and precise and bring you all up to speed as to what's going on and then move on. I'm assuming that those who are watching this video watched the video that I did with John about 3 weeks ago, I think it was. And it was him on my channel talking about how he had come here with $30,000 and planned to make that last for 4 years, which mathematically is pretty much impossible, especially the way he was running things. And in that video, he was talking about how he had met a girl and this girl and then a third girl, and I won't replay the whole video here for you, but if you've watched it, you pretty much know the story. And he was laying all the blame, if you will, on the people in the barangay, the chismes, the gossip, the mother, the relatives. He never really blamed the woman herself. In fact, at the end of the video, he confessed that he thinks that she's the one, that he's still in love with her, and he wants it to work out with her. And so when the video ended, I thought that was the end of it. I thought that was just a cool kind of video, an unfortunate video, mind you, but a truthful rendition of what can and will happen to people if they walk into here or any other country unprepared and underfunded. It can't work out well. And for John, it obviously didn't. Well, after the video played, it kind of took on a life of its own. And so a lot of people expressed a lot of empathy for John. And the community here reached out to me, and we all collectively reached out to John and decided that, or were capable of, I should say, of trying to lend a helping hand to him for obvious reasons. The man had lost 50 pounds. He looked like he just came out of a POW camp. His clothes were clean, but they were super old and they no longer fit him. He was pretty much regaled to sort of sleeping on the beach, pretty much just living a homeless lifestyle, trying to get handouts and free food, which actually is fairly simple out here if you camp next to some Filipinos, because they'll always offer you some rice or some fish while they're there. That's just the way the world rolls out here. That's how the Filipino people are. Extremely generous and kind. However, he had a girlfriend. She's not his wife. They're not married. But more importantly, he had 2 baby girls that are 3.5 months old, twins. And so what we did was there was a meeting of the minds amongst the expats, and we were able to collectively get together and put up a first and last month's deposit on an apartment for John. And since it was going to be 2 weeks until that apartment was ready, we paid for 2 weeks worth of a hotel stay at the Tip Top at 800 pesos, $16 a night, because it was imperative and it was obvious that he needed to get out of the environment that he was in. It was making him crazy. And it was not, he was making them crazy, they were making him crazy, and we felt that it was just best to get him out. Now, an interesting little factoid that I've never shared before is that 2 days after that video aired, the young lady, Diana, sent me a message. And she said, hello, Sir Paul. And she said, I want to thank you for making the video with John. I think that the best thing to do is, if it's possible, is for him to simply leave the barangay. And she said, the only thing that I want to tell you is something John said that's not true. And that is, I was not, this is Diana speaking, I was not chatting with other foreigners. That was a statement that he had made in the video. He had said that while he was with her, she was talking to other guys. And she just wanted to clarify with me that that was not the case. She was not doing that. My reply to her was quite simple. I said, I just think that it's best he leave. And her reply to me was even simpler. She said, I agree. And that was the end of the message. So that's exactly what happened. We were able to pull John out of there, away from her, away from the family, away from the barangay, bring him here into town, tossed him into the hotel, got him set up with some groceries, got him set up with a dentist appointment, gave him some funds to get some new, fresher clothes on, and we were just going to see if we couldn't fatten him up, get his attitude up, get him into this studio apartment. It was 9,000 pesos, $180 a month, for 2, 3, 4 months. And then hopefully get him back on the road, either home or employed. Do something constructive for yourself. In the middle of all that, while he was at the Tip Top at the hotel, Diana, the young lady, contacted him and let him know that the twins were extremely sick. And so he contacted me. He said, this is what's going on. What should I do? And I said, well, by all means, bring the kids to town and get them in the hospital. Get them to a doctor. And I didn't say the hospital. I said, get them in front of a doctor and find out what the hell's going on with them. And so he says, well, I don't want to go back to the barangay. And he said, well, then I don't know what to tell you, boss. Tell her to come with the kids. He said, but she can't travel alone. I said, well, then you're going to have to go there. And that was like a 45-minute, debate. And so, meanwhile, back at the ranch, Rike had sent John money to get a phone. And we created a group chat to offer John support and encouragement and whatnot. So I started fading all these kind of arguments to the group. I said, listen, I haven't got the stamina to put up with this. Why don't you just tell your objections to the group? And the group pretty much collectively said, go get your kids, get them to the doctor, put all this stuff aside. So that's exactly what happened. He did go up there. They made some sort of truce so that they could bring the kids out. Him and Diana and the 2 little girls got on the bus, and they went to the doctor. They went to Holy Child Hospital, where it took about 24 hours of them sitting around to get the girls admitted. They had to draw blood from both girls, and they could not get blood out of one of the little girls. And that took almost 24 hours to finally get a blood sample. And that's one of the rules for being admitted into the hospital. And then once they did, they put them in a room and started IVing them with antibiotics. They were diagnosed with severe pneumonia. And so I told John, I said, well, all this collective love that's been sent your way is going to get diverted from you to the kids. And he's fully on board with that. So I went down that day and put down 10,000 pesos to get the kids into the hospital, and they stayed there for 8 days. And today is the 15th. So yesterday, I went down. I think they were in the hospital 8 days. I went down, I settled the bill with the hospital, and John and Diana and the girls went to the Tip Top, and I told them, you're going to have to upgrade the room from this little tiny studio thing with just one bed, and that was also in a video, and into a little larger living space. I said, we'll accommodate you for that. It's only for 2 nights. Because tomorrow, him and Diana and the 2 girls are going to move into the apartment. So, this begs a lot of questions, doesn't it? Why are John and Diana together after what John said about what Diana and her mom and the barangay had done to him, how he was victimized and this and that and the other? I expressed to John early on that since this has turned into, instead of this being just a video about an expat going broke, it's somehow morphed into a he said, she said thing. And I think a lot of that has to do with interference from other vloggers that have decided to try to ride the coattails of that video and turn it into something that it's not. But anyway, I said, you know what? Diana deserves a voice in all of this, since it's morphed into what it is. So why don't you ask her if she'd like to be on my channel, and then she can simply tell her side of the story. So he did. He ran it by Diana, and he said she's not sure if she wants to be on the channel or not. And I said, no pressure from me. I just want to make the offer out there. I want to be fair. As it's been said 100 times, there's my story, there's your story, and then somewhere in the middle lies the truth. And I said, you know, I think that's going to be applicable now because of what this video has turned into. So, that being said, that's kind of the update. Let me give you some good news. John has gained 12 pounds. He does have a few new clothes. We cut the clothes budget down. The kids are now have been switched to a much higher grade and more expensive type of formula. They were getting this low-end stuff because of the financial pickle they were in, and the doctor said this is no good. So they're now up on a much better blend, if you will, of baby formula. We purchased a bunch of bottles that were Purex that were fairly expensive, but they're bought and paid for. They have to be boiled and sterilized. That will help the babies as far as not getting another infection. The children were on a nebulizer 5 times a day. They've been given medications and for antibiotics and for breathing assistance, etc., via oral medications. And right now, John and Diana are focusing on taking care of the kids. I wanted to talk to John live today before I did this video, but he actually took the babies with Diana back to their original barangay, I guess it is, to get their immunizations. That's where their records are, or something like that. So, I don't know, that's what they did. And then I'm assuming that tomorrow they'll be moving into the apartment. So this begs a lot of questions. Are John and Diana getting back together? Is John and Diana a thing again? I don't know. I mean, affairs of the heart, again, not my specialty. This is YouTube, not therapy. So my primary concern originally was John. I just wanted to get John fattened up, housed, get some clothes on him, you know, treat him like a human being, and then kick him in the butt and say, okay, go home and get yourself organized. We'll pay for the plane ticket. Or get yourself organized here and get some sort of online work or something. The cool thing is that in the support group, there are a lot of guys involved there that apparently can make that happen for John as far as getting some actual gainful employment, legal, online, so he can provide an income. He would prefer to stay here in the Philippines. I know that Diana would prefer that he stay here. She would not want him to go back to America simply because she would then need to go back to the barangay. And I don't think either one of them want to go back there. But Again, everything changes every day. It's always something new. The kids are really doing better. May and I went over there, and May spent some time talking with Diana. And she told me, well, Diana really does want to come on your channel, Paul, but she's just shy. So I said, well, you know what, May, maybe if she wants to tell her story and she's shy with me, and I don't blame her, I'm scary looking, maybe she could go on your channel. Or maybe John and Diana can come on my channel, or your channel, or somebody else's channel. I really don't care. I just assume pass this potato at this point. But we have enough resources here to keep the two of them, or now the four of them, cooking for the next 2 or 3 months anyway, if nothing else springs up, with rent and all that. And I think if we can get them settled in, get both of them, all four of them in fact, fattened up with some decent food, a cleaner environment, get a bassinet and a stroller for the kids, and just normal stuff, nothing extravagant. We got them a big thing of diapers and formula and all that jazz, so they're set for there. John and Diana both agreed that they would stick to eating pretty much the local cuisine of not just street food, but hopefully healthy stuff, but at least eat regularly, which they were not doing in the province. They were eating rice with a little bit of whatever they could find to put on top of it. And now they can go and, get some barbecue 2-3 times a day where the apartment is located. In fact, I know May's sister used to work at the cantina real close to them, so I know exactly where they'll be eating. What else was I going to tell you? A lot of the suggestions that came through were good, and I think given enough time, we will be able to accomplish some of them. For example, John needs to do something where the girls are registered, I believe, with the embassy as American citizens, because I guess they are. I don't pretend to know all that stuff, but I'll address it again with the group. The good news is Diana had PhilHealth, so that picked up part of the hospital bill, saved about $600, I think, off of that little deal. Baby May is now wanting twins. Now that she's held the babies, I said, no problem. We'll call them Heckle and Jekyll. And so the whole dealio here is the Lord knows what's going to play out in the next 2 months or so. But hopefully we'll get everybody fattened up, healthier, more on an even keel. And again, like I said, if they want to both come on the channel in about a week or so, then we can put this puppy to bed. And everybody can move on, especially me. I can go back to doing knucklehead videos about nothing really. And they've agreed that once they get organized, they would probably like to do that. So if they do, awesome. And if they don't, they don't. What else? Yeah, but there was a lot of things from John should go home, back to the States. I ran that by John. He's pretty reticent to that. However, if there is the ability for him to get a legit job doing some work online via some of the guys that are talking with him, and these are no-nonsense guys that are in his support group, that would be a viable option. I just don't want to get into the age gap deal and how irresponsible he was. That's already been said, that's already been done. So why take that horse and beat it any further? We will probably do, like I said, one last video with the two of them, or one of them, or none of them. I don't know. I'll keep you apprised. And we'll just kind of keep you guys posted. That's about as That's about as much as I got. I'm sure that I could go on for 2.5 hours and fill you in with all kinds of other stuff that happened, but there's really no point. The gist of it is that the two of them are together at this point in time. The babies are with them. The babies have gone through their regiment. The babies were really sick. So, I'm a believer in things happening where we went to help John. Maybe it wasn't meant about John at all. Maybe it was really about the babies. And so that's where the resources primarily have gone to. And I feel very, very good about that. One thing I will tell you is that where John 3 weeks ago was playing the blame game, and he was blaming this person, and he was blaming the gossip, and he was blaming the barangay, I gave him a little tune-up a couple of times, man to man, where I told him, just shut up about that person, and shut up about the barangay, pal. All right, they're no longer in play. You're not around that person, and you're no longer in that barangay, so quit freaking talking about it. You're here now. Let's deal with here and now. Quit living in the friggin' past. And you know what? That kind of took him back a little bit. And the next day, he came to me. And when I went to the hospital yet again, and he said, you know what? I'm the money pit. And I said, yeah, you are. And that, to me, was a leap by light years in being able to take on responsibility and not fade off and play the pity party and the anger and the resentment that everything happened to him. John finally realized that it happened because of him. And so he owned it. And I think that is, aside from the kids getting better and all that other stuff that we just discussed, I think the fact that he was able to own that and realize that it really is on him to man up and be a man for his family regardless what it takes. There's the great stride that we've made so far in the last 3 weeks. All right, kids, as promised, I'll do my best to keep you updated on this, and then we'll just put the whole thing in our rearview mirror, okay? See you next time. Bye.